Welcome of Graceful Touch Speaks Out, where we speak with lead industry who are helping in the area of whole body wellness. Today, I'm protected and excited about this topic to you today because I don't think we often consider it whole body wellness. The topic today is Unbreak Your Faith. And Michelle Dewitt is going to be the one who is going to be our guest. Without you, let me bring.
Hi, glad to be here.
Good to have you here as well. So I understand topic called "How to Unbreak."
Yeah, so that is a wonderful topic of your faith. A lot of times we want to put our faith in the things that we can see. And this is true. It's wonderful to see things. However, in order to truly have faith, you have to believe in those things that you cannot see. Um, Not variation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about believing in you as an individual. Right now, it may seem as though all things are coming to an end. You're losing it on this side. You're losing on that side. But if you focus in on the negative, you'll never be able to have positivity in the atmosphere that you're in, including who you're around. Even if they're negative,
Mhm. Gotcha.
that can wear off on you.
Let me jump in there for just something extremely amazing. If you let's see if I can
Hmm.
get it right. Focus in on the negativity. You'll never get to the positivity. Is that close to what you said?
Right.
I think that's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Hmm.
But,
Hmm.
you know, about the spiritual concept and whatnot, how could something like that relate to, like, well, I'm a massage therapist. I deal with the body, I deal with muscle. How could what you're saying possibly have anything to do?
Oh man, so much. Oh my goodness. A massage therapist? Let me jump on board with you.
Tell you what, right?
But listen, right. So when people come to you, you have to know exactly when they tell you this is bothering me, my back is hurting, my shoulders giving me trouble. It is in already some of the knowledge that you have gained from, going to school and learning about the different aspects of the body. However, you also have to operate by faith of the body because everybody's body is not the same. You went for the basic
Uh,
knowledge of the body in that realm. However, everyone's not the same. You could possibly feel something where they didn't tell you they had surgery, right? And you
right,
realize, okay, means I have to go a different direction. A book didn't tell you that. Your
right,
body tells you what's not right about you. It may not be a pain, but it could be an emotion. You're not feeling this way. When you go into a certain atmosphere, you know that your body is rejecting it. Is rejecting it because this is not what you're used to. And it could be good, it could be bad. Going to the doctor is not always a bad thing, but
sure,
your body tenses up when it comes down to that, right?
right,
So you have to be careful what your body is feeling. A lot of times we get stressed out, we go to the food or we go to drinking or whatever that special thing is when our body begins to talk to us and say, "Hey, let's jump off the limb and do something different today." And you're like, "Yes, it feels good to do this thing. So why not? Let's do it." But we
right,
have to
right.
break that. Right. We got to break that.
And you're out another way that I personally have seen this practice, which together at the hip. I've had some. I have one who has been in our office a couple times. They're no. Here's why.
Oh.
Here's. They came in. The room's too cold. I turn on the heater. The room's too hot. I open the door, window to give a little bit of air. Traffic noise, train going by.
Oh
The
God.
table's too, the massage just totally went that way the whole time through. I could not. Your pressure. Could you press harder? You know, I could not do anything right.
They did
Activity
not need a
like what you.
masseuse. Listen, they didn't need a masseuse. They needed a therapist. They needed
Amen.
a therapist.
Amen. But the negative, like, why I grabbed so the negativity that they were in allow them,
Mhm.
and they were the ones that lost out. Sent them an email, said, "I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to come back here again."
Yeah.
And wrong, they didn't even understand what they were doing, so they spend a nap on me, and then they go out elsewhere. Else, we have over 405 on our company.
Mm,
It's been in business for 4 years.
wow.
They could not find that positivity because they were so focused on the negativity. Why, when you said that, it totally makes sense. Now,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about how to unbreak faith and why that's important to you.
Um, I have that faith that is unbreakable. I, I have gone through a lot, being molested and raped. Um, and also went through having major surgery at the age of 14. I tried to commit suicide unsuccessfully, of course, because I'm here at 16. I had breast cancer at
So,
25.
question here for you. Question here for you. If you tried to commit suicide, at least at that point in your life, your faith was broken
Yeah,
at that point,
yeah.
and you had to come initial background of
Oh, yeah.
help in order to enter in the concept of day where you now understand how to unbreak your faith. Am I correct in that?
Yes, that is correct. I at that point had just given birth to a son, and at that
At
time, at 16, I didn't know anything about PTSD.
uh,
I just knew that I had a lot of depression going on,
mm.
low self esteem.
Right?
Those were things that broke me. here it is. I'm a 16-year-old girl, and I have this baby. I have no idea what to do. Yeah.
So what I have found, and it sounds like it's your case too, that you, or not just you, but a person ends up being of most service, being a best minister if they go through the tough stuff
Ooh,
first.
so true.
Yeah, it sounds like you
Ugh.
at 16 you were going through stuff. In fact, a lot sooner that you were going through this tough stuff. So continue helping us understand more about how did you reach this point.
Mm. Well, it started with my grandmother. Everyone has that special nugget in their family, auntie, grandma, granddad,
Yeah.
whoever. But she was praying for me. She
Amen.
always told me that I was the unique, special one. Of course, you think, okay, you tell everybody that. But I remember her
Right?
pulling me to the side and she told me, she said, you've gone through a lot as a young girl,
Mm-mm.
but it's because God has something bigger for you. And I was like, okay, Grandma. She said, no, look at me. She said,
Mm-mm.
God has something bigger for you. She said, I know what it is, but God didn't tell me to tell you. And I'm wondering all that time, what is it? And when I started going through, my grandmother, it was my great grandmother. Of course, she's deceased. And it was just like I could hear her in my ear telling me, God's got something bigger for you. And it was just like over and over, God's got something bigger for you. I always could hear that.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, did she ever at any point verbalize? Imagine that at 16, you kind of want to know what's going on with your life and where things are going. Did you
Yeah.
try an answer from her? Or?
By the time I was 16, my great grandmother had
Okay.
died. So
Okay.
I didn't
But
get to hear from her.
so okay, so may not be able to walk in with you today, but given a foresight, what it is
Yeah.
that where you would be going eventually. Do I have that
Yeah.
right? And do you?
Absolutely. You know what? Now that I think about that, there was a funeral that we went to. My grandmother looked at my mom and she said, "That's your preacher right there." And
Ah,
I didn't know what she was talking about. I had no idea.
interesting.
Yeah, so she looked at my mom and she told her after the funeral, she was like, "That's your preacher right there."
So, does your family have a history of uh, uh, work within the spiritual realm or within the religion?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes, yes. I have quite a few members that are in the ministry.
okay,
Yes.
okay. So it wasn't like a foreign, unusual, rather, okay, they can do it and so can I.
No, not really. Not on that aspect. I wasn't close to them. They were there,
Oh,
but I wasn't close to them. They were older and I knew about them, but no,
so
I
you
could
you
never
were
see
literally
doing what
blazing
I'm
your own
doing
trail
now.
then.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Not at
Okay,
all.
right, all right. So bring us forward. We let's get closer to today and whatnot. And where did this whole concept of how to unbreak your come from? I understand the background, I understand the
Yeah,
history, but what was the
right.
turning point
Uh-huh.
that was your aha moment from God?
Mhm. It was when I was laying in the hospital after having breast surgery. Um,
Okay, and
I
now
could
you are
not
how old at
figure
that
out.
point?
I was 25,
Wow, that's way too
and
early.
yeah, right, right. They were like, "Oh no, this couldn't be." My doctor was like, "Mom, you just have a little small lump. They'll get rid of it." I had 8 surgeries,
Oh,
8 of them, and the last surgery was exactly 10 hours long on the table. Yeah.
that doesn't sound like a coming forward with how to unbreak your faith. That seems like a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely
So,
right. But the nugget of it is
right?
when I was in that room by myself and the doctors couldn't figure out how my temperature, why it kept going up instead of down, I was praying to God and I asked God to show me a sign. An angel came into my room and she came in as a nurse and she was feeling
Mm,
on my body and she told me exactly what the doctors needed to do. The very next day, I explained to the doctor the nurse's name, how she looked, and he had this puzzled look on his face. He had his nurse beside him. He said, "No, she's been here all night." And I told them, "No, it was her." So that was my aha moment when I knew that I had unbreakable faith in God. And he sent the angel to little old me. I'm like, I'm nothing. He has so many people he could have sent angels to, but he sent that angel to me.
mm, mm, mm,
That's my
mm.
unbreakable faith. I have to have the faith in God.
So that, amen. That moment was a pivotal moment because of, you know, personal experiential happening that took place, which would uh, faith into ever since. Now, has that, so 25 days more than 25 today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in that process, has there ever been a time where you started wondering about faith? Maybe actually faith is ever start to waver? Has it been since 25? It's just been lock and load. I'm going forward no matter the obstacle. What has been your story?
I have had sometimes, everybody has. It doesn't, even Christ, when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he asked God with all those tears and crying, "Lord God, would you please remove this cup from me? But if you don't, I'll do your will," you know? And I am that way. I know it has not been cheese. I wish it was a piece of cake, but there are so many different aspects of my life that it would take forever to share. But
Mm,
those aspects always it comes to a head because I run across people who went through exactly what I went through or similar to what I went through, maybe a couple of days later, a month later, a year later. No, I don't want anybody to have the fossilization, I guess that's the best word to use, that once you're saved and God is in your life, now it's ice cream and cookies and that's that. No, you're still going to go through, you still got to do the work. There's
mm,
work to do. You still have to wake up in the morning and make a decision in your mind what you're going to deal with. Are you going to deal with negativism all day? Are you going to have a great day in spite of? And a full day is 24 hours. I always tell people you have bad moments, not bad days.
mm, absolutely. So then, as we're talking today, I anybody listening draw some nuggets on how to unbreak your faith. But laser focused approach on this. What are some tips, suggestions, however you want to put it, on how to unbreak your faith?
So I would tell people, I always say, take a moment and breathe. Breathing is so important. Once you with
Well,
those,
that's interesting that's first bullet point. As
mhm.
a massage therapist, is I make sure people
Yes,
breathe.
breathe.
Okay, so
Yes,
that
breathe.
that breathing does lots of things. I mean, breathing.
Yeah. Breathing lets out the negative, and breathing in brings in the positive. If you're breathing out, you're breathing out all that negative things that you don't want, and you intentionally breathe that out. And you intentionally breathe in the things that you want to come into your life, into your atmosphere. You make that decision. So that is the first thing that I tell people to do. Stop and breathe. You can breathe at any time you want to. You can stop at any time you want to. So that's the first thing. The second thing
Okay,
I tell people to do.
before we go to the second thing, I
Mhm.
want to talk a little bit more about this breathing.
Yeah,
There's different ways. That's a breathe. I just breathe,
right.
and then there's a what type of breathing are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting go slow, pause, think, breathing. We don't want to get to the point where we're panting. We're going to fall out.
Right.
So you want to take those few short breaths, but make it where it's long enough to um, inhaling. I'm inhaling. What am I doing? I'm inhaling, exhale, peace, right? I'm
Mm,
inhaling the peace. So, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
okay, so now that we have the type of breathing, um, there's different ways to breathe. People breathe from right up here in the throat. They breathe up there. When I was in choir and whatnot, they taught diaphragm way deep down in the
Yes.
diaphragm and such. So, what are you
Right.
suggesting?
I suggest the same thing because you want to
Mm,
start deep down. You don't want to go from the top. You want to start from the deep bottom because you want to get it out, right? You want to get rest. Yeah.
now, interesting that we're talking about how to unbreak your faith, spiritual sphere type thing that you welcome into your body and whatnot. And the very first point you got, I don't know if it's point and if it's the top point, the very first point is a very physical aspect, even though we're talking about a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual. Once again, doesn't this
Mm-hmm.
show very well how to be joined and are one?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think you can do one without the other, of course.
Hmm.
Um, Breathing is what we all have to do. Spiritually, there is
I'm going to
some
stop you.
type
I'm going
of
to stop you for a minute.
belief.
I'm going to stop you for just a minute. Breathing is what we all have to do. I agree. But how many to do that really consciously, strategically think we all have to do?
Nah, it's not. It's
Right.
probably less than I don't know, maybe less than 50%.
right? And so that's another reason why so critical is I went when I was a kid to school or to learn how to swallow because I was what was called a tongue thruster. When I breathed,
Mm.
I would out. So I had to learn
Oh.
to swallow. But it's
Mm.
equally important that we learn how to breathe because I'm afraid far too many of us breathe from up here and then we have anxiety, stress, we have acid reflux, we have all sorts of things going. If we breathe from down the stomach area,
Yeah.
change.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's number.
good. That's good.
How are we doing with? Is there any other concept as it relates that you'd want to cover, or should we go to the second bullet point?
No, you covered it very well. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
I like that.
What's what's
Get your thoughts out. Get your thoughts out. The way to do that is journaling.
mm,
Write it down. Get those thoughts out of your mind. The mind will capture you into a prison within itself. So you need to get those negative thoughts out as well.
mm,
And
mm, mm.
that's the second thing that I say you have to do. It's a must. Even if you don't write it down, record it. You can record yourself. There's so many different devices, different ways to do it. And you can record what is going on in your mind. What is the solution that you can utilize? My solution is the Word of God. My
Mm, mm,
solution is
mm.
prayer. My solution, lastly, is talking with someone. And I say that lastly because a lot of times when you talk with people, they're not going to give you the solution that God can give you.
Can I give it a personal
Can I give it a
example on
personal
that?
example? Yeah.
Um, so I too have a background where I've dealt with suicide.
Yeah.
Um, and some people that you go to, at one point, my wife died. She was 39 when she died. And
So young.
I, I was at a particular time, and I was at work, and I had told one of my associates at work about my suicidal thoughts. Well,
Mm,
in the process of me sharing that, hearing the conversation
mm,
called the crisis. You, when you go out, and you can agree with me or disagree, my experience with what I've seen is when you tell other people, a body, it is good to tell other people certain things. Be a little bit careful.
I'm sorry, you said a little bit.
Careful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell everybody everything.
Because if I crisis line call and was like, do you need to go to somewhere where you can be safe? And it's like, I don't need that. Teen, my sadness and my grief. I'm grieving. Leave me alone. But and it's not like the coworker had done it or to get me back or to do any. He was genuinely concerned and didn't know what else to do. So he did what's best, but it was a bad choice for me.
Hmm.
But be careful now.
Right.
Let's let's talk just a little bit
Right.
about you covered the how you could do whatnot. Um, how can these devices that you and I are using right now to talk to each other, can they play a part in it? Should they play a part in it? And if so, what should that part be? Are you there? Hello? Are you there?
I am so sorry.
I
You
lost you
just
for a minute.
froze. Okay. Um, can you hear me?
You.
Okay, okay. What was your question?
So,
Okay.
all right. So, my question was, we were talking about the how to aspect of journaling or recording or whatnot like that. My question is, these devices that we're using, can they be a part of it? Should they be a part of it? And if so, what type of part should these devices be used? Be how 21st century? How do we incorporate? So, Michelle, we're having a little bit of technical issue. I can't hear you. I see your lips moving. I see you moving, but I cannot hear you. Did you put your cell phone mute? Did you hit the mute button or anything? Okay, stand by. I'm going to switch internets and see if. Well, all right. Are you there, Michelle? Are you there? Go ahead and say something, Michelle. 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 Hmm. and we lost back at another time